Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about basically the what mindfulness is according to the Buddha and according to myself and what I've learned in Kabbalah, and a little bit on quantum Torah. So I'm going to start with talking about kind of group consciousness and all of this. For example, in my views, we don't need to bring up negativity in the name of detoxing. The brain is also healing, so we need to have our words be mindful. In this time of redemption, there's a lot of confusion. So things like the ability for eggs that are frozen to be fertilized, and for embryos that are already fertilized to be frozen. We used to say in my culture, it's the time of Mashiach, it's the time of redemption. Mashiach means anointed, it refers to an individual who is redeeming, but these are different ways of saying supernatural does not always mean unnatural. Unseen good is a lot more. So in a group, we might say that the problems in the group are a lot more obvious. For example, things I just mentioned, like infertility, right? Hormonal issues. I mention them, and I say in the time of redemption, it says that there will be supernatural ways. But we are looking at things where there's unnatural ways. So this is obviously group consciousness, because these kind of things one person doesn't invent. It takes groups of people funding groups of people, funding groups of people, and eventually it becomes more widespread. So how do we remember and rebuild? This is what it is to have a group. One person, has a child, or many. They have a child. There's many part of the lineage. That's called our ancestry. And we have to honor our ancestors' desires. And then we have our descendants' well-being, and we have to prioritize them. Some people say, this idea of building a tree, you'll never see the tree. It's going to be for your children. And why am I focusing on this group thing? Because this group idea is because my personal viewpoint, was very much influenced by the Jewish culture, which says the Jew never has to be alone. You have the Torah. The Torah will always tell you how to be connected. And then, Quantum Torah is this website I love by Alexander Poltorak, I think his name. And he talks about what is the stampede idea. And it's like this uncontrolled collective running of a crowd of people or a herd of animals startled by something unexpected. They start running like one. This idea that if not redirected, they may run off a cliff or into a river. When fear takes over, it suppresses the instinct of self-preservation, which makes the behavior of a stampeding herd unpredictable and very dangerous. So, clearly we have group conscience. We have, everybody together making a difference, but at a certain point, it's all one. The one individual doesn't matter anymore. Is nullified in the group. And so I'm going to talk now, according to Kabbalah, where it says that there's non-harmony options, where we stop giving where it's not welcomed or wanted. And we do this on an individual basis. We have to check ourselves and see if we're people-pleasing, if we're too externally focused, if we're requiring credit, like we're doing a favor. Because really, God could use anyone. It's my good karma to be a channel of love, right? Thinking does not mean knowing. It's just the thoughts that we have. And of course, we whether we're praising people or the world, God said it is good. Are we being godly? And then finally, it's there's a genius, there's a spark in everybody. A DNA, inspiration where there's no credit or blame. So I'm going to give two main points here. One is we make effort, we overcome laziness, we overcome self-sabotage, we resist our own resistance, we fight the negativity and the reactivity, we move out of the comfort zone, we feel pain, and this is all work that goes against gravity, against our conditioning. So this is like the group pressure. And we're pushing out, right? And the other side of it is expressing love and kindness naturally, listening to the intuition, channeling light compassionately, and easily supporting those that we're in relationship with, getting downloads, feeling creative, access to insights and solutions, this is the way to be a flow, to channel and to be. So when there's non-harmony, we have these two options. One is to push out, make space for ourselves. And inside of ourselves even, there's aspects in us that are repressing ourselves inside. And the other way is to make the effort, is not really so much making effort, more just like letting go and being open. One is inhale, and one is exhale. And this is how to find that balance, right? And I'm going to talk a little bit now just about mindfulness. Mindfulness is awareness of and contemplation of the body, the thoughts, the feelings, and something called dhammas, which in Hebrew we might say tikkun. So, I'm saying here there's tikkun versus tohu. Tikkun is like correction, the world of correction. Tohu is the world of chaos. So dhammas refers to the group, and that's in Hebrew, it refers to Kabbalah. Dhamma is in Sanskrit, and it refers to the groups of phenomena organized in ways that reflect the goal of the Buddha's teaching, which was and the 5 groups mentioned are hindrances, aggregates, sense bases, factors of enlightenment, and noble truths. But his teaching, it reflected in a way of like just arriving into being. So the goal is to be with what is, right? And to find the inner group. We have many cells in our body that are functioning. We have many feelings and thoughts, and there's like an inner group, and it can become a stampede inside of us. That's why I'm talking about this. So number 1, he talks about the sensual desires, ill will. These are the 5 hindrances. This is what hinders us: ill will, sensual desires, apathy, laziness, anxiousness, and doubt. Then we have the aggregates. These are things that like start to get stuck together into a group, right? Form, which is material image or impression. Sensations, which is feelings received from the form. Then we have perceptions, which are mental activity or formations. And consciousness. So then we have 6 pairs of sense bases, which are internal and external. Internal is the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind. External is visible forms, sound, odor, flavors, touch, and mental objects. And then we have the factors of enlightenment. These are things like mindfulness, concentration, tranquility, joy, energy, investigation, and equanimity. And then we have the 4 noble truths. The first one is that suffering exists, is an innate characteristic of existence in the realm of impressions. Whether we're in suffering, when we're incapable of suffering, or it's painful, or then there is that origin or cause is the second truth, that together with suffering arises craving or attachment. And third, cessation or confinement, that suffering can be ended by renouncement of attachment or cravings. And finally, that there is a path leading to the ending of attachment and suffering, and it's the 8-fold path. It's wise understanding, wise mindfulness, wise action, and so on. And so as we move through our own inner, harmony, non-harmony, and we learn about, chaos versus harmony, and the uncontrolled inner collective, we start to be able to recognize that each of us, our efforts really do pay off. Our efforts really do pay off. What we're doing is, even if our intentions may seem to have no impact, it's a lot happening behind the scenes, behind the scene like SCENE, the scene, behind those scenes, but also behind what is seen, and behind what the seams are, like behind the veil, behind the seams of the fabric of reality. And even behind the seams, like what it seems like. I like this little wordplay here. And our payoff, even, our payoff of our intentions and our efforts is even if it takes time. And finally, to end in like more of a meditative place, I would like to just have everybody close their eyes for a moment and let, for this moment, our eyes be purified so that we recognize we have a liquid vision. We have crystal, magma, plasma, like a television coming from the eyes, constantly flowing vision. It's unrolling in front of us, and when we open our eyes, we're going to have a refreshed perspective of this liquid flowing vision sight. And just look around and let it be fresh again. And you can do this as many times a day as you like. It's like you recognize that you're seeing, your capacity to see is being poured out of your eyes. I hope this was interesting, and I look forward to tomorrow having another video on similar topics. Thank you for spending this time with me. Be well.